Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly, Step Brothers, Boats and Hoes. What's it got to do with today's show? Absolutely nothing, because we're talking Stepsisters next.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
No one's gonna sing it? Oh,
Negative, too high.
Oh, I can do Rico Kasich.
Here we go. And here goes
I
Rick.
guess you're just what I needed. Hey guys, welcome to Netflix News. We're talking Stepsisters today. I'm Rick Hong. You can find me on all social media at Rick Hong, R-I-C-K-H-O-N-G. And I'm joined by Ashley Chaney.
Hi, you guys. It's so good to be sitting back next to Ricky. It's been a long time. What's up, everybody? It is, in fact, Ashley Chaney. And if you want to talk to me online, find me at Ashley on Camera. And let's talk about all things Netflix, y'all. Let's do it.
And I'm Steve Kaufmann. You can find me on Twitter almost exclusively at Steve Kaufmann. That is Kaufmann.
and I'm so excited to be back. I missed you guys last week, so I decided to come back. And I'm Amy Cassandra Martinez, and you can find me on all social media at Amy Cassandra MTZ.
So this is a 3-week streak with the same handle?
It's happening, guys.
It's happening.
I'm pretty good at
3 weeks
this.
with the same
This is it. This
Consistency is beautiful.
Hey guys, and we're also joined by a special treat. We're joined by the writer-producer of Stepsisters, Chuck Hayward.
Hello, hey everybody.
Yeah. And Chuck,
How's
where
it
can
going?
everybody find you?
On the social medias, I'm on Instagram at ZeroChucks and Twitter at ChuckOff.
Chuck off.
Thank you.
Dude, I'm surprised you were able to get that one.
I know, I was surprised too. I was looking for, what was I looking for? Chuck My Life, but somebody had that already. Yeah, that was going to be my one for both of them, but it was already taken. So I was like, there's some other creative Chuck out there who was a little quicker on his trigger finger. So.
Do you know that I just got the Zero Chucks right now?
Oh yeah, it's
I
all
was like,
profanity with my name plugged in. Yeah,
I want to change my handle.
Oh,
now.
no.
Also, again, dude, she's changed her handle so many times, I can't even keep
You
track
can't keep
anymore.
up. How do we follow you?
Also,
You
at
know,
Chuck
I
My
don't-
Life has not tweeted since 2010.
What?
okay.
Pointing that out. You can get
I'm gonna buy it from that guy.
No, you know
Or
what? I don't
gal.
even think you need to buy it, because like on Twitter, now that you're Chuck Hayward, you could probably be Chuck Hayward and like they'll give you the blue ribbon
blue
thing.
check thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they'll kick off anybody else that tries to be you.
I think he's been Chuck Hayward his whole life.
Most of it, for
Yeah,
sure.
but the real Chuck Hayward, you know.
The
Unless you like Chuck
Chuck
Off, which I do like.
Yeah, that's more me. That's more my style. Yeah.
But then on Instagram, somebody has Chuck Off.
Somebody had Chuck Off on Instagram, so I had to change it to Zero Chucks, which I actually like better. And I was like, oh, I should go back and change my since I have like, I've tweeted maybe 5 times, 10 times.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I should just go back and redo it so that they match. So this gives me an idea for tonight.
Hey, there you go.
Well, very cool.
I'll get on that when I get home.
All right,
I
guys.
tweeted into it so you know exactly who they are.
Okay.
Get you right on there.
Great, thank you.
All right, guys, so we are talking Stepsisters today. Last week we showed you the trailer. This week we got Chuck. We're going to talk all sorts of things about Stepsisters. Saw it, enjoyed it.
Thank
Amy
you.
Cassandra Martinez watched it.
I
think
also
Steve.
saw it.
Yeah,
I
we
watched it.
yeah,
Oh,
so
great.
we all,
The whole panel
we all,
watched it.
yeah, the
Thank
whole
you,
panel
guys.
watched it.
Thank
Hope you're getting
And-
some back end numbers for all these.
Yes,
watches.
I know. I love it. We get mad clicks. We get mad streams. I love it. Yeah.
No, and if you guys are watching live, please jump into the chat, ask questions. We'll try to get that question to Chuck. Otherwise, throw it into the comments, and we'll try to get some answers for you on that end of it. But, dude, so the whole Netflix thing, you started with Dear White People?
Yes. So I worked on Dear White People for both seasons, and it's like the best TV job I've ever had. It's one of the most amazing shows. I'm surrounded by unbelievably intelligent, hilarious people. We get to talk about real issues and stuff that's affecting people's lives, and we get to add comedy into it. And so I think that's always makes it an easier pill to swallow. And it's just fun. Like you just go to work and laugh all day, and get to feel like you're addressing topics that may not get addressed normally on mainstream TV. So.
Wait. We gotta back up though, Rick. You just jumped in. This whole Netflix thing. What do you mean this whole Netflix thing? Is Netflix the first place you've ever written for? How did your career as a
Well, see,
writer
there we
take
go.
off?
She
Oh yeah, no,
Let's
Netflix.
hang on a second.
Yeah.
It's 'cause,
Let's take him to dinner first.
yeah.
Let's take him to dinner first.
Yeah, seriously, right? Yeah, come on, dude, buy me a drink. I started. That was my 5th show that I worked on. Every other show that I had worked on got canceled after 1 season.
Hey, that's the charm.
That's exactly. 5th time's the charm.
There you
They
go.
say that all the time.
Yeah.
And so I was hoping that this one would be the one to break the curse, and it was. And the shows I've worked on before were on Bent on NBC, Wendell and Vinny on Nick at Night. One Big Happy on NBC, and then Cooper Barrett's Guide to Surviving Life on Fox, and they were all great shows, wonderful experiences, but they just didn't for some reason go the distance. So, and this one seems to. We just wrapped season 2 in December of Dear White People.
Congratulations.
And thank you very much. Yeah, and I got my hooks into Netflix, and I was like, I'm riding this baby till the wheels fall off. I was like, these guys are too amazing to work with. Like, I need to make sure I do everything with them. In there.
So for you guys that don't know at home, sometimes when you're a writer, you get guaranteed a certain amount of episodes per season. Season 1, how many episodes were yours?
I had 1 by myself, and then 2 that I shared with another staff writer, not staff writer, but another writer on the staff named Jack Moore. And then this season I had 1 by myself and shared another one with Jack Moore. So
That's great. And then Dear White People is how many episodes?
10 episodes each season.
10 episodes,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
And so for a 10-episode show, how many writers are we talking? How many writers are in the room?
7 writers.
7
Seven
writers.
writers plus
Oh, wow.
a script coordinator and a writer's assistant who,
Yeah.
they're doing a lot of the hard legwork of making sure that they get everything down.
Notes
That we
every
say,
day? Are you kidding
Dude,
me?
that
As
shit
someone who's
is-
been a writer's assistant,
can I
can
curse?
tell
Yeah,
you.
that's
Okay.
fine, man. Don't worry.
That-
you just
yeah,
did.
yeah, I just did, right? We have to go back and edit that out. No, yeah, and so they contribute too as far as like ideas and pitches and jokes and all that stuff. So it's 7 people technically, but it's really 9.
It's a whole room.
Yeah, it's a whole room. We take good ideas from everybody, so we like to make everyone feel very empowered, regardless of your ranking or whatever it is. So
It's a nice way of saying we will steal from you.
we will
minions.
steal.
We will steal your
yes,
shit.
we will steal all your shit. So do not say anything that you don't really want us to take. 'cause-
Mine now.
yeah, exactly.
Well, it's a negative way. The positive way is
Yeah,
everyone
it's
gets to
a collaborative, open environment.
Everyone
yeah,
gets to
right?
say something.
There you go. There you go.
But it's also good. We're not an authoritarian room
No,
where,
no, 'cause-
where the people who aren't writers don't feel like they're allowed to say anything at all.
Yeah, and there are rooms too where even staff writers, which is like the entry level writing credit, like they don't even feel comfortable speaking. Where it's like you've been in the rooms before, so you see
Cutthroat.
it's cutthroat. Sometimes if the senior writers are like the producers, executive producers, and everything, if they're not amenable to hearing from everybody, then it's like, hey, shut the fuck up and let the grown-ups talk. And
Yeah.
that's not a good
It's
way
so
to.
unhealthy.
It's unhealthy. I feel like it doesn't foster an open communication. I feel like it
doesn't work for comedy for sure. I'll guarantee you.
Especially when those the more experienced writers tend to be a little bit older. So
Yeah.
like having younger voices, I feel like makes everything feel a
Keeps
little
it
bit
current,
keeps
y'all.
it current, keeps it fresh, and they're they have an opportunity to learn from the younger writers as much as the younger writers can learn from them. So I think it's I've been lucky to work for showrunners who all welcome your experience, because basically they're like, we're paying you to be here, you better contribute. So like I think that's the more logical way to go about it, and I'm lucky to have always had that. So
How is working from networks to working with Netflix?
night and day. Networks
Because networks are very structured because they're bound to advertisers.
Yeah.
Whereas Netflix, there's like subscribers, and
Right.
then it's that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like I don't know if it's Wild Wild West in terms of like that's why I wanted to know how you like that experience.
It's Wild Wild West in all the good ways. Like like the Netflix executives, a lot of them came from TV and other from network television or cable television or whatever. So they have the same structural ideas, but they give you a lot more freedom. So it's kind of like we don't get 100 notes on every episode. That's like, oh, do this. This is not going to work. This is going to offend people. Blah blah blah. All their notes are like, we're not getting enough from this character, or we're getting too much from this character.
Those
or
are the
like,
best notes.
They're the best notes.
Those
Yeah,
are the juicy kind. Yeah.
Exactly, the juicy
Move
kind,
the
and then
story forward,
move
yeah.
the story forward. Maybe make this scene a little funnier. Like they don't give anything that makes us be like, damn it. Like now we have to go and sort of change the tenor of what we were trying to say, or change the message, or anything like that. Like they want us to do us, and they're just like, here's how we can make what you guys are trying to do as like the best it can possibly be. So I couldn't ask for better collaborators from them and Lionsgate, who's our studio. They're the same way. They don't get in our way. They, like I said, and then when they do give notes, 9 times out of 10, they're super thoughtful, and they actually make us make the show better. So
That's great.
we are very lucky.
That's an uncommon narrative.
It's-
Like
yeah.
when you get people in here, it's normally like they're dancing around the. Yeah, sometimes
They go to the bullshit register. They're like,
sometimes dealing with the network is a challenge.
yeah, no, our
It's a welcome challenge. I'm on their network.
Yeah.
Jay Becker in the chat, how does the room work? Do you go off and write on your own? and put it up on the screen, or is it a collaborative, everyone all in all the time process?
This would be great for you to talk about the process.
Yeah, for sure. It's actually both. So we sit around the table like this. We all throw out. We talk about our personal lives, what we've read in the news, and all that kind of stuff. And it seems like it's just kind of bullshitting and getting ramped up, but story comes from that. And so it feels so that when people say like, "Oh, I really connected to that show," it's because it's like these are things that have happened to us or happened to our friends and family, and so we're just sharing those kind of experiences. And people, it's easy to connect to that when it has that authenticity. So yeah, we'll all come up with an idea together. We'll say, hey, episode 1, like we want to do this, we want to say that. Oh, this character should do this, and then we'll have it up on a board where we kind of beat out bullet points for the entire episode.
Beat out, everybody, to interject here.
Oh,
beat out.
sorry.
Let's talk about what beat out means. Go, take it away.
Yeah, beat out is like organizing and outlining the story
The story plots.
the story plot points in a bullet point sort of way. And then
It's like doing an outline.
yeah, basically, it's pre-writing. So whatever, whether you're writing in a group or on your own, this is what you're going to be doing. There's just more voices. So then we'll say, hey, Rick, this is your episode. So you take the bullet points that are on the board, you go off on your own and write an outline. Outline comes back to the group. We read it. We, add our little tweaks and maybe add a joke here. Maybe this storyline isn't clear enough in the outline, so maybe clarify that a little bit more. And then we send the outline to the studio, Netflix, or to the studio Lionsgate, and then to the network, which is Netflix. And then they give us the thumbs up, hopefully, and then then it's like, all right, Rick, you're approved. You're off to script. So you go off and you write.
And that's when you get paid.
That's when you get that money. Yeah,
you get a script, you get paid.
What's the schedule like for that? Like, how long do you have from writer's room to first draft, basically?
Usually they give you like 5 days or so, which if you don't have,
fast.
it's fast, but like a lot of times they'll say like you don't have to come into work. So like
fast.
so while you're doing that, that's 5 days of being on your own, going through your own process, and
And do you wait until day 4 to write?
No, I don't.
No, you don't.
I wait until day 4
don't.
to finish. I don't wait until day 4 to start, because like I like to really go in there and do as much as possible early on, walk away from it for a day so I can like,
you're a studious writer.
Yeah, so I can like get my bearings, get some distance from it, and then I go back in and do everything else. Sometimes I'll slip it to one of my coworkers to check it out before I turn it in, and then I turn it in, and yeah. So
yours is such like a stress-free process. Everybody else is like, I wait till the last day. I'm sweating. I hate myself. I cry, and then I turn it.
I can't do that. I'm too neurotic for that. I need to know that like halfway, between now and the due date, that I have like 3/4 of the way done, or else I will go completely batshit crazy. And I'm trying to avoid that these days.
Wait, so was this your inside track to Stepsisters? Or
no.
Did Fat Camp have to come out? So Chuck also did a movie called Fat Camp that was on what?
It was an independent film, so it was on. It's available on like on demand, so iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, all that stuff.
Still available for
Still
those
available.
people that
Yeah,
might want to buy it?
Yes, absolutely. Check it out. It's laughter. It's like Heavyweights, that movie from when we were growing up.
Yeah, man.
But like
I love that movie.
the dirty version, the R-rated version. Because my thing was like when I was a teenager and I went to camp, we didn't talk like Disney characters. We talked like fucking like we were dropping F-bombs.
Like 13-year-old
like
boys.
13-year-old boys, exactly. So we wanted to make that as real as possible. And the director Jen Arnold, like she was amazing, and she kind of like, it's so amazing when they give a female director.
You hit it.
Yeah, like
right
a
there.
movie with almost all male characters, and she knocked it out of the park. She got the humor. She got the
comedy, no less.
broiness.
It's so rare to have women
super
in comedy.
duper rare.
And then
yeah.
is she? What is she? Is she white? Is she?
She's white. Yeah,
she's
yeah,
white. Okay.
yeah.
That doesn't matter. She's a woman, which is great. So
Yeah.
I'm just curious.
Exactly.
I'm just curious to like kind of get the demographics.
Just happened.
Yes. And she's a lesbian, so we checked a lot of boxes.
Oh, there we go. Yeah. No, I was gonna say if she was Asian, I was like, oh, it's even better, but whatever.
Yeah, I know.
No, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding.
Your day will come, Rick. Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna be like the Wachowskis, and all of a sudden it's like,
exactly.
Okay, so how did Stepsisters get made?
Okay, so Stepsisters, I was looking around online, futzing around, like procrastinating, and I saw a video of this white sorority called Alpha. Wait.
A real live YouTube
yeah,
video?
YouTube video, yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Zeta Tau Alpha was the name of them. They did this like regional step show, and they won. Like Ludacris was like hosting, and he gave them like $100,000 check. And I was so intrigued by it because the reactions of everyone in the room was so different. So during the show, everybody in the audience, which is almost entirely black, were like, yeah, like on their feet, screaming, going nuts, like they really enjoyed the show because the girls did an amazing job. And then when they showed the awarding of the check, some of the girls on stage who were competing against them, who were all black sororities, were not so happy when they announced it. One of the sororities like just turned and like walked off the stage. So I was like, oh, that's interesting that people loved it so much, but people hated it so much, and I thought that was a really interesting way.
Natural tension.
Natural tension, and a really good way to get into the story about like when people are doing things that they are not culturally used to doing, and when people kind of venture out and try things that are new to them and that are embraced and emblematic of a different type of person, a different race of people. I find that so intriguing whenever I see it, and so I thought that'd be a really great opportunity for a movie. And when the trailer came out, people were like, "Oh, this is such a ripoff of like Pitch Perfect," and I was like, how dare you? This is a ripoff of Bring It On. Like this is like let's come on, man. Know your history.
Jesus, dude, that's hilarious.
Yeah, like and that because like Bring It On, I absolutely love that movie.
Amy and I had this conversation.
Oh,
you
guys big Bring It On fan?
Yeah.
You were like Clovers and go Clovers. Yeah, I know almost
like,
every
you realize
line
at the
ever.
end of that they have that whole sequence, and it's like my song. You know, it's like, oh Ricky, you're so fun. No, it's Ricky, you're so fun.
Sorry.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
keep going.
No. So that was like I always wanted to write a movie like that, and so I did that, and somebody was asking me too, like, why did you do sorority and not a fraternity? Because I'm a fraternity member too. I was in Alpha Phi Alpha. I pledged at Syracuse, and they were like, well, why didn't you do frats? And I was like, well, because like when I saw the video, it was women, and I was like, that's the story that instantly kind of connected in my brain. And then we did a bunch of table reads. So Lena Waithe, who's the Emmy award-winning writer.
It's actually cool you say that, because Amy and I got to go to the Shy red carpet.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
nice.
yeah. So she let me interview Lena, and then she interviewed Kaufmann. So
did you know Lena from before? Because I met her around the same time I met you, I think.
I mean, not personally, but like I'm friends with her agents, and like I have talked to her before.
Gotcha.
But no, it'd be like, you know this guy? She'd be like,
you guys aren't doing each other's hair on Friday nights and like talking about.
But she's awesome though, man. She's awesome, and it's awesome that like she's a producer on this too.
Yes, so she read the script because we've been friends for years, and she was like, look, I really like this. I want to help make this happen. So she started organizing these table reads, and so we would get a bunch of actors together, and they would all read it. And the feedback I was getting from the actresses there was like, women don't get these kinds of roles. Like they're always like the girlfriend or the hot chick who doesn't really have a whole lot of depth. And I was like, well, like you've seen even lately in movies. Actually, you've seen from the beginning of comedy, like I Love Lucy and like the Carol Burnett show and everything like that, and Mary Tyler Moore. Like women have always been a big part of comedy and television and film, and it was like that sucks that that people aren't getting these roles. So it made me like double down. It made me
and don't forget Maude, man.
And Maude, of course, B. Arthur,
yeah,
and the Golden Girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, B. Arthur's been cracking us up for decades. So I was excited to do that because these are all three-dimensional women. Yes, of course there are some stereotypes, but then we break down the stereotypes.
Fixed that though. Yeah. Exactly. You did a really good job of like introducing certain issues and then fixing the problem.
Thank you.
For me, it was more, you get a lot of TV shows and movies where you're introduced to a character and they're kind of like a blank slate. So you're like, oh, okay, and then you learn to love them. But these people, you meet them and you kind of just don't like them, and so you slowly peel back the layers and get to know who they really are.
Right.
Was that your goal all along?
That was 100% my goal, because like everybody, having been being in a black fraternity and like seeing different white organizations in college, it was like there are a lot of similarities here that we don't necessarily highlight. We always tend to focus on our differences, and ultimately like everybody has the same sort of goal, like increase the profile of your organization, attract new members, represent yourselves in a way that makes you proud, community service, and all that stuff. So I think there were a lot of stereotypes from the black sororities to the white and vice versa.
Yeah, totally.
And so I wanted to like throw those out there and then watch as those get broken down, as they get to know them as more than just stereotypes and as actual people, like three-dimensional human beings. So.
No, dude, you had great actresses in this too. So like, how do you say the lead's last name? I can't say her last name. I'll butcher it.
Oh, Echikinwoke.
Yeah, see.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I recognize Alessandra Torresani from like the Battlestar Galactica prequel, and like Linwood Smith. She's
Lyndon. Yeah.
Lyndon. Yeah. She was in Andrea Savage's like True TV, like I'm Sorry, a TV show. Like I recognized her.
She actually was on Cooper Barrett's Guide to Surviving Life too.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Parenthood too. No?
Yeah. And then Eden Sher and Notori Naughton, who's amazing, and she'd never really done comedy before. She played Aisha, who was the main character's like best friend and sorority sister. Yeah. She knocked it out of the park. Like,
she was
I
great.
thought she was so fucking funny.
And then the actor from Orange Is the New Black as the boyfriend, as the first boyfriend.
Dude,
he was great.
I met him at the screening last week as Matt McGorry, and I was like, oh my god, dude! Like every line you said is exactly the way I heard it in my head when I was writing.
That's
and
great.
that's not normal. That's not normally the case. And then Nia Gervier, who's also on Dear White People, and then Marquis Richardson, who's the eventual love interest, who's also on Dear White People. So, and they've been friends for years of mine and each other. So it was working with your friends at Dear White People and then going to work with your friends on Stepsisters was unbelievably cool. And I forgot to mention Ben Corey Jones too. He's the other producer. He and Lena together, like they spearheaded the table reads and they got it sold. I don't know how much of this I'm allowed to say, but like they got it sold to one company that went out of business and then another company that sort of didn't want to. I don't know, whatever. And so Netflix was basically our angels. Like they came in when the movie was already shot and edited, and they were like, "We want to put this out there."
As they should. It's like so on point with all the content. That's
so they came in as a distributor.
Yeah, they came in as a distributor. Yeah, they were not involved in the development or anything. Like that.
That's what I was curious about to see, like how since you were on Dear White People to say, I got this idea, but that's
no. Yeah, those were two separate sort of things. I just happened to kind of be at Netflix, and I'm like, can you adopt me, Netflix? I want to be with you forever.
That's what we keep trying. That's what we keep trying. So
exactly.
Yeah, get your own hustle.
Or
you're telling we'll compare dates.
No, we can go in as quintuplets. Like it'll be it's a package deal. Yeah.
Chuck, you can write me apart because you and I go way back.
Way back, man. So like
screw these
3
guys.
or something. There's some dissension in the family. Sibling rivalry.
Any chance I get, man, I just try to cut. See, like, look, I'm blocking Ashley right now.
The bus tires are all over their back. The tire tracks.
Did you write this by yourself or did you have partners?
No, I wrote it by myself.
Completely by yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, very cool. And how come you weren't on set for any of the shooting?
I was there for about a week.
Okay.
In TV and film are a little different. So in TV, the writer's on set all the time, and the director, is, hey, we good, we got that. Film is a little bit different. It's a director's medium, so your input is not as welcomed. To be completely honest, I don't think anyone's going to be upset about that. But they were like, you gave us the script. We worked on the script together for months and months and months. The directors on both movies got in a lot of their ideas in the writing process. So, they felt like it was something they really made their own. And then they kind of don't need you after that. So I did enjoy the week in Atlanta with, in a beautiful hotel. It was amazing.
You're like, I like my per diem.
Yeah, I mean, come on, man. They know how to treat you.
Atlanta's pretty fun.
I'm not a writer, but how do you like it when you finish something? You just talked about the actor, like talking about how you nailed the performance exactly like I wrote it. How hard is it to let go of how you envision and then what you actually see?
I don't think it's always that hard because I feel like a lot of times they bring something to it that you didn't necessarily see. I've seen that a couple times in the movies. Like I didn't write it. Like they're saying the words that I said, but they're bringing to it attitudes and backstories and emotions that I hadn't necessarily layered in there.
Right,
so
that's the actor's work, right?
That's the actor's work. That's what
add
makes
that.
one actor different from another actor. Like, is their take on that character, on the material that you give them. And a lot of times they find shit that's like better than what you put there, and they bring something to it. But I still get credit for it, so I'm like, rock on, keep working.
Improv
exactly. Still says my name at the end of the movie.
Or sometimes it's kind of there by osmosis that they find it. You put it there, but you didn't actually intentionally put it there.
Yeah,
I've had that experience a lot where you're like, that was
exactly what I meant.
That was also me.
Completely intentional. Yeah, no. That's been a really fun thing to discover. So there are certain times where like, I don't think they understood that joke fully, and like I don't think it landed because of that. But it's more often, oh shit, I would have never thought to do it that way. Nice work. Yeah.
Right.
So there's one line in the movie that just was pure perfection. I want to know how you came about it. Racists can't own things.
Mm-hmm.
Was it that you saw the video on YouTube and you're like, okay, so yes, I'm going to focus on stepping, and then you kind of got to that point where it's, I can really delve into that message? Or was it when you were writing and you're like, hey, I think I should say this? Or how did that go about?
Yeah, well, it wasn't like, because that's the thing, like that's kind of our main character's perspective, and that's her argument. I don't think it's necessarily the argument of the movie. I think it's the argument, like I wasn't trying to say like, hey, everyone believe this one thing. It was like, this is how these girls look at it, these are how these girls look at it, and these are how these guys look at it, and all that. So I wanted to be very individual, but that's a really like, and that's always been sort of my perspective was like, racists can't own things, but I understand that that's kind of a Pollyanna-ish way to look at it. Like you really have to go back and look at like
The history,
yeah, exactly, where it came
culture.
from, what it means for the culture, how people prepare for it, what it's like. It's not just a dance routine that you can learn. There's a lot of stuff that goes involved in it, that is involved in it. There's a lot of teamwork. There's a lot of all that stuff, and so I think. While that was kind of the underlying message for that character, I think it was intended to start a conversation, not be the answer to a question.
Right, and it does start a conversation. Like as we're sitting here right now, I'm like, would I be upset if like a team of African dancers wanted to do some Irish river dance?
Dude, I would love to see that.
I would love to see that.
It would be amazing.
Yeah, that's my next. That'll be my next
Cool.
thing. Yeah.
No, man, they recently announced a remake of The Greatest American Hero, and it's
Really?
going to follow an Indian American woman. And there was like back in the day, there was this cheesy thing on YouTube where it has Indian Spider-Man and Superwoman or something, and they're doing the dancing and stuff. And I was just like, man, if they could make The Greatest American Hero like that,
They stole your idea?
No. I'm just saying if they could, it'd be great.
Okay.
But they just announced that they're greenlighting The Greatest American Hero, not a white guy, not a white woman, but an Indian American woman as The Greatest American Hero, which I think is a great idea for television.
Well, yeah, because I think it's in the title. It's an Indian American woman, greatest American hero. Like the idea when people say like, oh, that guy has all American good looks, that usually means like white dude with like blonde crew cut or something like that, or perfectly wavy hair or something like that.
Rick just very subtly pointed at me.
Yeah.
I just want to point that out. Rick
I think we were all sort of looking. Yeah.
Rick was kind of subtly like,
Yeah.
Steve, it's the white guy.
I wasn't even looking at you. I was looking at Chuck.
Your finger was just unintentionally
It just
going
automatically
like this.
just bent towards Steve.
Subconsciously.
Yeah.
Besides, Mom, I was talking to Dad, or whatever it is, and Can't Buy Me Love, or whatever he says.
Oh wait, I don't.
Shut up, Chuck.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, that's a good pull, man. Deep pull there from the '80s.
No, but so what's next? What are you? So you got Dear White People.
Yeah.
You've got this out of the way. What is it you're working on next?
So I wrote a script. T.I., the rapper, had an idea for a movie about. He kind of wanted to do. Now he wanted to do an urban Pitch Perfect. Like that's one that's more of a Pitch Perfect style thing. So we got Pepsi came on to sponsor the development of the script. They're at Sundance, like promoting it and trying to find distributors. We have a great director, this guy Justin Francis, who's like a music video guy and young and hip and exciting.
I know just the place for this to go.
I
talk
mean,
with you off air.
hello, yeah,
I will
like
talk with you
I'll
off
go
air.
to talk to my corporate parents and just be like, please,
I'll
please
just-
take this next
right,
thing
absolutely,
of mine. Yeah.
absolutely.
I think it would be dope. And T.I. is a producer on it, and he's gonna star in it in a supporting role. Not like the roles. It's about basically like. Teenage girls singing groups in like underfunded like LAUSD schools and stuff like that.
awesome.
Like music programs are being threatened because of budget cuts and all this stuff, and it's like how these girls have to kind of rise above. There's a lot of that. There's a lot of the same group dynamics, but if we focused more on the black sorority, it's that sort of
Cool, right on.
way. And even though it's a comedy, like it deals with a lot of really. Interesting social issues. I don't think I'm allowed to give too much away just yet. But
that's great.
But
getting
that script's
nervous
all
for you.
I know. That script's all written and it's out of the way. And then we were out pitching a remake of Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, but with a black family.
The dishes are done.
Yeah,
man.
exactly right.
Uh-huh,
And so
uh-huh.
we have an offer on that. We're negotiating right now, so hopefully that continues to go
very
well
cool.
because like that is one of the. Like I've seen that movie. I went in the first meeting I went in there. I was like, I've never prepared less for a meeting than this because like I know the dialogue, I know
in and out.
everything, in and out, back and forth.
So
like,
who's gonna play Christina Applegate's character? And if you had your pick of any
Yeah,
actor,
dream. Yeah,
Dream.
dream, man.
So I either think Yara Shahidi from Blackish, who is
Okay.
I think is hilarious and like just unbelievably poised for like an 18-year-old. Like she's so just like politically active and just keyed in. She's just amazing. And then Zendaya, like those are my top two.
Oh,
choices.
she's awesome. Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, so,
I am so obsessed with Zendaya.
Zendaya. I think it's Zendaya. I used to say Zendaya too, but I think it's Zendaya.
I think you might be right. It's Zendaya.
Yeah. Either way.
Well, how obsessed are we actually? If I can't even say her
Yeah,
name?
I know.
I really, really love her. She's amazing.
So I think either one of those two
on
ladies.
paper.
I have never heard
I like
anyone
her
else
written
speak
name.
about it.
Yeah, exactly.
No, she's so fantastic.
Yeah,
All
so
right,
those
man.
are-
So then what,
Excited.
down the line, or maybe tomorrow, what's the dream project that you're like, dude, if they let me write the next, I don't know, Obi-Wan Kenobi Star Wars or Lando, because I don't know, maybe it'll be on Lando. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, that's a good question. Like there are, I kind of would love to do like a superhero movie, kind of like how Deadpool was rated R comedy, but a superhero movie. Like I would love to do something like that. I think that's a really exciting avenue for me. And then there's also, I don't know if I should talk about this, but again, I heard a story on NPR about this woman who was like the biggest madam in New Orleans in like the 30s or something like that, and that blew me away. I was
go
like,
chase it, man. Do
yeah,
it.
like
Ooh, do it.
I'm chasing the shit out of that. Like I really would love to tell that story, and like, but it'd be like a dramedy, but like there's a lot of comedy in.
Oh yeah,
especially-
imagine the things that must
the
happen
things that
in
must
a
happen.
madam's house.
Right, there's the natural comedy of like these are people who are probably high society who are coming to do this maybe seen as untoward thing, and then there's also like the element of basically like a female business owner before that was really cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a lot I think to play with there. So hopefully I get to do that. That's
NPR
like,
is such a wealth of things to
Yep.
mine
I
for
mean,
stories.
yeah,
Oh
it's
my gosh.
so many, and the stories are all over the
Inspired
board.
by real things that are happening.
Right,
Like,
right.
It doesn't get any more.
I agree. Doesn't get juicier.
We're
Life
circling a
imitating
question by Zayas B. Lou.
Oh, Zeiss. Yeah, we always
Hi,
loved you.
Zeiss,
I'm glad you're in, brother.
May
Let's
you
do
ask
it.
Chuck if he could write or direct a live-action superhero movie, what would it be? I could see Static Shock or a Blade reboot. My question based on that was going to be, did you have an IP in mind
Yeah.
for an R-rated superhero movie?
I don't yet. I had a meeting with somebody the other day who brought
Ooh.
up one that
Yeah, you
I
can't
talk about.
definitely
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
talk about. But I'm trying to think of like all in the superhero world. See, I feel like there was a way to do Wolverine more comedically.
Yeah.
I think that would have been an interesting sort of perspective. And then also, gosh, I'm trying to think of all the superheroes that I was a big fan of when I was a kid. Well, yeah, like not Christopher Nolan. I'm sorry, Tim Burton's Batman's back in the day. Those were dark.
Those were like my favorite.
But
That's
still,
actually
but
right
they
around
were
the
they were
time.
funny.
the perfect conduit
Yes.
to the Christopher Nolan Batman we have now.
Exactly.
From the camp, there was enough camp, but there was enough serious, and there was enough dark.
Yeah, but that was the first superhero movie that really did dark. Like
Yeah.
most of them before were just all campy, and so I think that ushered in this new era of.
Although the best superhero movie ever
Careful,
was Superman
careful.
by Richard Donner, my former boss. That was the best superhero of all
Shout
time.
out to the old boss.
But,
Yeah.
Dude, so when you're not busy on Dear White People, and you're not busy pitching, and you're not busy promoting Stepsisters, when you have Netflix at home, what are you watching?
Oh, dude, don't get me started. Like it is
But no, people
I'm
want to know.
gonna-
This is what we talk about every single week. We talk about what
Yeah.
people should be watching, what they
Okay.
shouldn't be watching. I would love to know what it is that you're watching when you have your own shows on there.
it is a treasure trove. Like I just keep finding shit on there that I'm like, why is everyone not talking about this? Like I mean, I know everybody talks about Black Mirror. That's the one I've
Yeah.
discovered the most recently.
I still haven't seen it.
Love it.
And Ashley Chaney, this is her last episode.
She's no longer with the show.
I felt everybody just bitch slap me simultaneously.
right.
Like I felt it happen with your faces. So everybody
I knew
relax.
you.
I'll get on it.
It's worth it because it deals with a lot of issues of technology and sort of how we can sort of be through the looking glass before we know it, and something that seems like a really great technological idea can fall into the wrong hands or be used for nefarious means, and it's like scary as shit, but also really interesting and thought-provoking. Like that's probably one of my favorites. And then I just finished watching Easy. Have you guys seen that?
Oh, I've
That's,
seen it.
this
Yeah, I've
one.
seen the thumbnail. I haven't clicked on it yet.
It's amazing. It's like an anthology series, so it follows it's about
The
relationships.
one with the kids on the bike? No, that's just a different thumbnail.
No, that's isn't that Stranger
Dope.
Things?
I'm even thinking dope.
Yeah, probably thinking of Stranger Things. Yeah, that might be what that is.
Well, hey guys, officially this is Ashley Chaney's last episode on this panel.
I have
man.
seen Stranger Things, everybody. Okay, different show.
You know what?
Yeah.
Next
Pretty
week
relaxed.
we'll cover Easy. I'll watch it. We'll cover it.
Oh, do yourself the
Chuck-
favor. The first episode, I watched the very first episode, and I was like, oh my God, I don't like that character. That's me. I was like, I need to be a little bit better in my relationship, because I was like,
Wow.
I'm seeing too much of myself in this. And then, but it follows sort of different characters every story, and then, or different every episode. And then sometimes they'll come back in a later episode to people they followed in an earlier episode, so you get a little update on 2 or 3 of the stories, and you never know what's going to come up next. But it's all really like fascinating. There was, one of the ones I watched most recently that I loved was I can't remember the actress's name, but she was in that movie Patty Cakes.
Oh my God, I freaking love that.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I just
It
almost
was-
dropped it
No,
off
no,
on the-
No.
it's mine.
That
It's like,
movie.
I've dropped like 7 of
We've
them.
earned
So
the
yeah.
explicit tag.
But that's how excited I am about patty cakes. Did you love patty cakes?
I did. I thought it was
Patty Cakes,
amazing. I
if you
didn't-
guys haven't seen
Patty
patty
Cakes.
cakes, unfortunately I don't think it's on Netflix.
It's on.
You guys.
Oh, it's not yet.
Is it?
Maybe, or
It
maybe it's on
let's see.
iTunes.
Well, you know what? It's okay, because you know what is on there is Paddington, and Steve Kaufmann, Kaufmann, loves Paddington so much that he went to the theaters to watch Paddington 2.
Did
so.
you?
Oh, I love Paddington too.
Dude,
wait,
that's- it's
no,
the
I
best
heard it's-
reviewed
I heard
movie
it's
on
funny.
Rotten Tomatoes.
I heard it's really funny.
I not only that, but I went to the TCL Chinese
Wow.
for like a 10 p.m. screening, and I got the whole theater to myself.
Well, shocking. I mean, it's Paddington 2. What do you think? It was going to be sold out?
No, but usually
Lines
there's
around the block.
usually there's like another person
Yeah.
for the 10 p.m.
Right.
Chinese theater
Yeah.
screening.
He reserved the
kid's
theater
movie,
for
yeah.
himself.
I had the entire theater to myself
Hey.
to watch Paddington 2, and it was delightful.
Well, you guys
I
are
love how
kicking
Rick's
me off
bringing
the
this
panel
back.
for
No, because
not
I'm
seeing Easy
amazed
and-
that Paddington 2 is the best reviewed movie on Rotten Tomatoes. Therefore, I need to watch Paddington on Netflix.
Yeah.
Paddington
Then I
is
need to
on
go to the
Netflix. That was
theater
my
and
pick last
actually.
Yeah, you got to catch up. You got to, like, who doesn't love a little fuzzy bear? Like, it's the cutest thing ever, right?
It's. I think everyone in their mind is oversimplifying Paddington. It's actually wonderful. You should all just go watch it.
Okay.
Well,
I'm so shocked right
talking
now.
about-
I mean, I would have never thought.
I mean,
that you
Ted was
loved
also a
Paddington.
talking bear, so there's that. Well, I'll give you the talking bear, but
Y'all
I cut
need to
you
watch
off.
it before you hate.
I hope Paddington curses as much as Ted did, 'cause
He just
that would really make it like
bugger. He says
amazing.
bugger like
You
4
were-
times.
Bugger? Okay.
Oh,
That's kind of a curse in
Bugger.
England. Yeah.
You were saying the actress from Patty Cakes was in a movie.
Oh
What
yeah,
movie?
yeah. She was in an episode of Easy, and is she like I don't want to give anything away, but like Judy Greer plays her mom.
I love
and
Judy Greer.
Judy Greer is always amazing, and she was like she gets caught fooling around with her boyfriend, and then they make her go to church, and then she sort of starts like getting overly churchy to like get back at them, and then
Okay,
this,
no more. I don't
Yeah,
care.
yeah.
I'll figure it out. But the
It's-
actress that plays Patty Cakes
Yeah,
is in
it
some-
is the
okay.
main character
Oh,
in this
she's
episode.
so good.
She's so funny. She has
good.
so much depth. Like
Yeah.
she's a really good actor. I wish I could think of her name right now, but I can't.
We love you
Alright.
though, just as much as Zendaya, Zendaya.
Zendaya, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We have just a few minutes left, and
Oh, that was quick.
yeah, it is quick.
Man.
What you guys need to realize, it's a true treat to have Chuck in here, because I've known this guy for a long time.
Yeah.
And
Over a decade
It's
now.
not, yeah. So we met when we were like 12.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
the thing about it is that it's not always these overnight success stories. It's not Timothy Chalamet, like at 17.
He's not an
you
overnight
get
success,
nominated.
guys. He's been working for a
But
long time.
Chuck
Yeah, he's
has been
actually 20.
at this for a very
He's an old pro.
long time. Dude, I would love to know your piece of advice to like the audience, just even to yourself, to say like how you just had to just keep at it.
I mean, that's it. Just keep at it. And there was, there were definitely some dark time. Whenever you're chasing a dream, whenever you're going after something that there's no clear roadmap to, you sort of have to be your own boss and like keep yourself to deadlines, make sure that you're turning out product, and you just have to stay on top of yourself, and you have to pay the bills. So like you have to go, like Rick and I were assistants when we met, and so I was an assistant for 9 years at different production companies and television shows, and then I finally got my first writing gig. That was after 9 years of having slugged away.
So it's
Were
not,
you
yeah,
a
guys,
writer's
it's not
assistant or a
No,
production assistant?
just a regular assistant.
Well,
And-
yeah,
and-
I was
and
a
then, like,
producer's assistant at a production company, so like I was
Okay.
on a desk, and then I was a PA on Everybody Hates Chris for 2 seasons, and then a PA on Entourage, and then the showrunner's assistant on Entourage. So
Okay, so once you got to the showrunner's role, because I'm like, how do you develop story chops if you're not around those rooms? Like, how do you?
yeah, well, that's the thing. Like I would ask, hey, if I'm not busy, can I come in the room and just sit down and watch? And so they would let me do that, and whenever I wasn't busy, I would do it. And if I had other spare time there at work, I'd be sitting at my computer working on my scripts, and I would crank out scripts at work as much as possible. And so it was tenacity and a lot of hard work, not like getting discouraged, because you hear so many fucking no's before you get a yes. So it's not letting those no's deter you or steer you off your course. And it's also, I've been saying this in interviews, like people say like it's all who you know, and I think people misinterpret that as meaning like it's who your parents can give you connections to, or like whatever but no, it's people that you meet that you make a good impression on, that you show that you're a hard worker and that you have talent, and eventually they're gonna, because like, you know, when we were assistants, so we started seeing like all of our friends around us who were assistants would get promoted into positions where they could then help you. They could put you on writers lists for their bosses to meet. They could like because I got almost, I'd say half of my assistant jobs I got from people calling me up and saying, "Hey Chuck, they're looking for some an assistant over here."
Yeah,
and so and just because we had met, we had gone to drinks, we had maintained a relationship, and they wanted to look out for me when they had the opportunity to. So that was amazing. And also,
like Chuck and I went to Hooters and had drinks.
we did because Hooters was
really good wings.
amazing wings.
At the time, they had really amazing wings.
Yeah.
Not so much anymore.
Well,
but
and you find all the cheap places around LA when
my
you're
God.
hanging out with assistants. Like you find all the dopest little places. Like, do you remember St. Nick's Bar?
Yeah.
Like they had this was where I think Baco Mercat or something like that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like some
Uh-huh.
fancy
Mercato's there. On Third Street.
Mercado, on
Yeah,
Third
yeah,
Street.
Third
Yeah,
Street.
so it used to be this cool dive bar where the drinks were like, the beers were like $1.52, and
not quite that cheap, but
they were like
they give you a
$4.
big pour. Like if you
Yeah.
wanted like a mixed drink, and it was like literally 3/4 of it, you'd be like hammered.
And then there were certain, I can say this because they're out of business now. There were certain booths where you would sit and they'd be like, I was having drinks with a friend. He was like, "Hey, check this out." Lift up the seat of the bench, and there's
Snacks?
No, beers, just cases of beers, and he'd just pull one out and have a beer from under the seat. I was like,
I didn't
I was
know.
like,
Didn't
"That's
even hold
stealing."
out on, man.
That's where I was like, I have to draw the line there. I was a big like bring my flask to places. Like
Smart.
that was my jam.
That's
Yeah.
just
It's frugality.
Like,
it's
that's
basically it's kind of finding a
word.
loophole in the system. You
Resourceful.
be discreet,
That's just
resourceful. There you
resourceful.
go.
No, man. See, when I used to go, I just used to go to the girls. I'd be like, "You buy me drink," and then
Did that work
You're
ever? No, you should be so offended by you right now.
Did you have to keep up that voice the entire time?
That's hard.
So
But you find a very specific set of the community who's like, "Yes, I will buy you." I've been waiting for this stereotype to come approach me. Never do.
And
I'll be
that's
like,
how
no,
Rick
no.
became a host
Yeah.
at AfterBuzz.
that's when I was just like, "I'll take the Vouv champagne."
Yes, there you go. You're like, that's the one I know. Yeah.
No, dude. Literally, for me, it is a true treat to see your success story, because I've been friends with you for so long, knowing that it wasn't something that was overnight, knowing that in this industry we have our peers, and jealousy, envy, like all these types of things. Like the depression can kick in because you're like, why is it this person and not me? But
Sometimes it can't kick off. Sometimes any
But
day you want to leave depression,
but
that'd be
no,
great.
but it's awesome to see. Like I said, just to see your success. I mean, it's an inspiration. It should be an inspiration for you guys to know that. He said 9 years before he really started seeing success. So.
I think that's what actually anybody that's been successful in Hollywood, everybody says, "Oh, they were an overnight success." That is just not true. You just haven't seen all the time that it's
struggle.
taken up to that. All you see is like they came out of nowhere. They didn't. They've been like banging on the back door for 9 years.
Yeah.
Like, and that's my strategy is I'm just gonna stay until y'all kick me out.
That's exactly
kick me
that was my
out.
strategy. I was like, I am not letting LA beat me.
Yeah.
I will fucking stay here until they drag me out of here, clawing on the 101. Like I'm staying. Damn it, you're not getting rid of me.
I have a
Sorry,
lot of stand-up comedy friends who have tried. Whoever said this initially should really get on it. But what it is it takes about 2 years to get funny, and about 10 years to actually get noticed that you're funny.
Yeah.
But they tell people that up top, where
Sure.
to expect that. Like, even if you'll grow to a point where you'll shoot straight fire on stage every night, all night, every night. It'll take another 10 years from that point to actually get noticed for being able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And
I've heard that too.
And if you're not ready for that journey, then don't do it.
Right.
Start at the
have
mailroom
to-
somewhere
yeah.
where you're in your hometown, and then you'll work your way up.
Well, I think
guess.
that's the thing. Like, if you love it, if it's something that you really love, and my joke has always been like, I majored in TV, radio, and film. I was like, I'm not trained for anything else. So like, this has to work, or I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do with my life. So
you
when
can't not do it.
you can't not do it. So yeah, with no safety net, it's actually a good way to go forward in life, which I know
It's
is a
just
dangerous
fire
message.
under there.
Just fire
Just
and
fire.
alligators, like alligators breathing fire. It's very dangerous down there.
Well, that was another
World's
thing.
exciting.
All right, guys. We've run out of time. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Rick Hong. You can find me on all social media at Rick Hong, RICKHUNG. And
Thanks for chatting, everybody. If you want to talk with me some more, find me online at Ashley on Camera.
You guys can find me on Twitter almost exclusively. I'm at Steve Kaufmann. That is KAUFMANN. I'm also covering the Royal Rumble at 10 p.m. Pacific, so I'll be probably in this very room. Quick picks from me. I have not seen A Futile and Stupid Gesture, but I will. And West Wing. Get on the West Wing, guys.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Amy Cassandra Martinez. You can find me on all social media at Amy Cassandra MTZ.
And Chuck, thank you for being here. Where can everybody
Yeah.
find you?
Chuck.
Yay,
Thank you very much. Instagram, I don't tweet very. Instagram, I'm starting to do more. That's at Zero Chucks. Twitter is at Chuckoff, where I don't tweet very often. But now I will. Now that I know that I have more characters. And, yes.
Yeah.
And thank you guys so much for having me.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it. It was great
Absolutely.
talking to y'all.
Good talk.
All right, guys, that's it for this week. We'll see you next week.
Go Eagles.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Stepsisters.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.